Hello K-freaks! We are finally back, so welcome to the channel. Today we are going to make enamel pins with clay with different logos and different styles. It's a very simple DIY with just a few materials, so I hope you like it. For this DIY we will need templates of the logo that you want to turn into enamel pins, clay, you can use both polymeric or air drying clay, acrylic paint in different colors, maybe some metallic ones too, cutter and other utensils used for modeling clay, the clasps that you want to use for your pins. There are different types, but you can even use an earring clasp, a varnish or school glue to protect the pin. You can also use clear nail polish or resin as I have done. And finally, a sandpaper. You can use this type of blocks as well as normal sandpaper. I ended up using a nail drill too. Before starting this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Legend has it that when you do it, you dream about your bias. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't miss it. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. We will start by flattening our clay. To do this, we need the help of two objects that have the same thickness in order to do it uniformly. I found these two woods that are 3 mm thick, but you can make it thicker or thinner as you like. I will place the woods on each side and begin to flatten using a roller. If you are using polymer clay, this process may cost a bit. Once our clay is spread evenly, let's move to the template. We will trim it leaving a border of 1 or 2 mm around the edge, and then we will place it on top of the clay, pressing a little so that it doesn't move much. Now, using a cutter or any similar utensil, we are going to cut the edges as clean and exact as possible until you get something like that. Now let's move to the details. Taking in account the thickness of the border of the template, we will make a uniform strip to outline our clay shape and cut the excess, making sure that the strip is well adhered to our shape. Now, we will use a clay modeling tool to smooth the joint of the strip and the shape. Actually, I'm using a blackhead remover tool, but to be honest, it works wonders for this task. I would say that this is the most important and perhaps complicated task of this DIY. So it's time to listen to some K-pop while you make those joints disappear. Remember to do it on the sides as well, and if the result is not perfect, don't worry, we still need to sand it. Now to the center details of the pin. The first thing we will do is cut out of the template those parts that we want to stand out, not the ones that will be sunk. In this case, it will be everything that is not the logo itself. Now, in a sheet of clay more or less the same thickness as the strip that we have placed on the edge, we will cut this template. Again, we will do it with a cutter, something similar, trying to make it as clean as possible. Once we have it, we will place it inside the pin or in the correct place. And again, it's time to put both pieces together. Depending on the chosen logo, you may have to repeat this process. Before baking the clay or letting it dry, I did a test that I wanted to share with you. Using a thick cardboard, you can cut out any logo you want to create a kind of stamp. In case you need to add letters, I recommend using the pasta edibles, or if you have a stamp with small letters, you can use it too. We will simply glue both the logo and the letters to another piece of cardboard. Remember to glue the letters in mirror mode. And then we will use this to stamp our clay. I think this is a great idea to make several identical pins. Now yes, once we have all our logos, it is time to let them dry or put them in the oven, depending on the type of clay you have chosen. Once our clay is hard, it is time to sand. I recommend using a little bit of water as the result is usually softer and produces less dust. You can now round the edges if you need so, as I'm doing in this case. Something that I highly recommend if you have one is to use a nail drill to sand the small details. This is another important moment in this craft, since it is the moment to fix any damage that may have remained. Obviously, it is a manual job, so let's not expect a 10 out of 10 result, but maybe a 9.5. It's enough. I'm just kidding. Once sanded and cleaned, let's turn all the pins upside down to attach the clasps with super glue. This step can be done perfectly till the end, but I feel like it helps when painting to do it now. You can put more than one clasp per pin if you think it is too big or will need it. The time has come to paint the base color that our pin will have. They are usually metallic or black, but you can really paint them whatever color you like. I recommend having a sponge or something on hand to stick the pins into to dry. Once the paint on the base is dry, let's move to the inside paint. I recommend doing it with a very thin brush. This paint can help us fix some imperfections by doing some optical effect, so you can take your time to paint. If you make a mistake, don't worry, just paint over it with the base color once it dries. It is important to let this step dry very well since we may have accumulated a lot of paint in the holes, so it might even take a whole day to dry. The next step is optional, but I wanted to attach some of my pins together as well as decorate them, so it's the perfect time to attach the screws and chains. And we finally reached the last step, the sealing. As I mentioned before, you can seal it with varnish, school or 3D glue, or clear nail polish, but my favorite option and the one I used is resin. This is the two-part resin, so I just had to mix it up and cover all the pins carefully. Finally, let them dry the stipulated time according to the product and we are done. I hope you really liked the video. If you make this DIY, I would love to see it on my social media. Don't forget to follow me there because we will have shorter videos and games sometimes. Also, don't forget to leave me in the comments what would you like to see in future videos. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Annyeong!